Let's call the Human Resources Committee to order. Madam Clerk, would you read the roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Welper.
Here.
Mr. Hart. Ms. Cole. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Lind.
Here.
Mr. Morrissey.
Here.
Motion to approve the agenda is proposed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the agenda. Is any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Let's take these separate today. If someone would take request number 1 first.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Morrissey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request from Chief of Fire Services to initiate the civil service process to create a firefighter recruit list.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on that request. Is there any discussion or questions for that?
Could I ask what the purpose of this is? What do we anticipate coming, Pat?
Pat Truler, Chief Fire Services. Our list expires July 25th, the current one we're on right now. We hope to hire 2 off of that list before it expires. And then we always like to have a current list. We're going to have 2 additional personnel added back to our budget in October, and we hope to be able to hire, and that'll be off the new list. So the request in front of you today is just to start the civil service process. We think if we got on the civil service meeting for April that we would probably have a list done by August.
Okay. And the 2 you're talking about hiring off the current list, is that backfill or do we have 2 retirees coming up?
There's 2 retirements, yeah.
Okay.
That will basically be off the books by the end of June.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Sure.
How long do those lists last? Just curious.
We certify our recruitment list for 2 years.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none. A roll call, please.
Mr. Welper.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Lind.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
That motion passes. Request number 2.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lind.
move to request from Waste Management Services Superintendent to fill a position of Combination Inspector 2 at the Waste Management Services Department from a current civil service list and make an appointment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this request. Is there any questions or discussion on this request from Larry?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Is this, we're filling a position, same position in building inspection. This is the same category job, but it's not really the same job. Isn't this the fog? Is this going to be the fog guy?
Larry Smith, Superintendent Waste Management Service. This person will be the fog inspector, yes.
Okay.
They have some similarities between the 2 jobs, probably close enough that it'll work. I mean, I don't know what you're asking.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
curious because we're doing this other one that's in building maintenance.
Right.
To me, fog is a completely different animal, but maybe the general, maybe I should.
I'll answer it, Tom. The intent is to have the same title for the inspectors in both departments, combination inspectors
Sure.
too, so we don't get into any, particularly any union issues. Initially, both of those jobs will be full-time jobs. The building inspector and the fog inspector will certainly have more than they can handle to do for quite some time in the future. We anticipate that there may be some time in the future where one department or the other might not have quite as much work and could use the help from one of the other departments, back and forth. And if we have them titled the same, then we can do that and not have any union problems.
Gotcha.
It's a common practice in the city. We do it now for like the clerk 2 positions. There's clerk 2s in several departments, and it allows, 1, you can use 1 civil service list, but 2, you can cross-utilize if there's retirements and that sort of thing. You can move them as needed by keeping the job description the same. And combination 2 is kind of a broader job description.
Okay.
And then we'll add a section that's just specific to the fog inspector so that the duties of what that specific inspector does.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure this is a fog inspector.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
don't we
it-
have to have
It is.
a fog inspector?
And the
Well,
combination 2 that we just hired in building was the footing grain inspector primarily,
Okay,
so, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes. Motion.
Second.
And a second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you.
Call the Finance Committee meeting to order. Madam Secretary, if you'd read the roll, please.
Yes, Ms. Cole is absent, so Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Welper?
Here. Motion to approve the agenda and also the approval of the minutes of March 30th, 2015 as proposed.
Second?
We have a motion and a second on those two items. Any discussions, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. If one of you gentlemen would like to take those items of new business.
I'll take the travel requests,
Okay.
if that's all right.
Yes, sir. That'd be great.
Mayor Buck Clark for a class meeting with volunteers, Mayor's Volunteer Awards Luncheon at the Mayor's Top Teen Awards Reception, Destination Waterloo, April 21st, 2015, not to exceed $600. Investigator Hesse for a class meeting, Investigative Strategies for Child Abuse Cases, Destination Des Moines, Iowa, on 5/18 through 5/21, not to exceed $575. Number 3 is a recommendation to award bid to Bill Caldwell Ford for one 2015 cargo van for Traffic Operations Department.
And the pre-authorization?
No, you don't second.
Oh, yeah, second that, sorry.
We have a motion and a second on those first three items. Any questions, comments, discussion? Joe, if I could ask you on item number 2. Is that for certification purposes?
Captain Joe Lab with the Waterloo Police Department. That's grant reimbursable by the state. We're part of a statewide network for child abduction cases, and that helps us stay in connection with that and have contacts should a child go missing from Waterloo or from another community and show up here.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? No. Okay. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I would vote aye on 1 and 3 and no on 2.
Now the pre-auth.
Now the pre-auths.
We have building maintenance amended, the amount of $4,952.88 plus $392 shipping for an increase in approval needed for additional 142 previously approved for $250. Building maintenance, $14,600 for painting second floor and stairs of library. Building maintenance, $20,000 for new alarm panel for Young Arena. Building maintenance, $7,051.70 for LED lighting for police evidence room and city hall basement. City clerk, $8,600 for new world standard software license and interface installation fee. Leisure services not to exceed $54,157 for chemicals and fertilizers for turf management of the golf courses. Leisure services $6,997. $2,000.50 to replace worn center dock at the boathouse. Leisure Services, $2,285.30 for an assortment of additional weight equipment to support additional members and increase class sizes for group exercise classes. This is an amended request. Leisure Services, $9,000. Services related to Harold Getty Lake Trail REAP project, including wetlands delineation, ramp profile design, permit applications, coordination with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Traffic operations, $11,040 plus $200 shipping for controller cabinet. Traffic operations, $9,633 plus $200 shipping for hybrid signal equipment. Traffic operations, $5,565.88 plus $150 shipping for a Valmont combination mast arm pole with 15 luminary arms. Traffic operations, $4,106.38 for elite roadway light pole with 8-foot arm. Traffic operations, $2,771 plus $25 shipping for phase selector Opticom multi-mode M764-4CH. Traffic operations, $4,281.24 for 12 1 3/4 by 60-inch fully galvanized anchor bolts and hardware. Traffic operations not to exceed $2,000 for 2 directional bores, setup, and materials.
Second?
We have a motion and a second on those items. Do we have any questions, comments?
No.
Susie, for you on the New World, is that the new computer hardware and software we got about a year ago to replace what we were doing with the county, or is that something different?
It is the interface that will interface with, it's for the document management system that we just purchased that had nothing to do with the county, but what this does is it creates an interface to our financial software, our payroll software, and our community development software, so that all of the documents associated with them will all be able to be found. So if we're doing an inspection, the inspectors on the street will be able to pull up the pictures that they've saved without going into another software. Payroll files, again, you'll be able to go in and see everything. Accounts payable, you'll be able to see all the checks and all of that. So it's going to link the 2 softwares is what it is.
Thank you.
Is this professional services then?
It's buying the software interface that makes the 2 talk, and then it's also installation and,
Professional services.
yes, all of the above.
Okay.
And Paul, I apologize, I didn't get a chance to get into the attached documents today, but the weight equipment at the Sportsplex, is that coming out of the winter trust, or is that coming out of the revenue, or where's that coming?
That's actually coming out of our budget, which would be out of the revenue.
Okay.
We did exhaust the winter trust some time ago.
Okay. And then the docks, is that coming from WDC or anybody like that?
No, that's from
that's
bond
the
money we
old-
have for the boating center.
Okay. Okay.
It's a center dock that's basically fallen apart.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Anything else? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of those items signify by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. Okay. Those items are approved. We also have 3 budget line item amendments that are at the clerk's office if anybody would like to see those. And then we also will need a motion to pay the bills. So I move we pay the bills this week, and they are $3,081,706.50. That's 3,081,706.50.
Second?
A motion second on those items. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those items are approved.
Motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, looks like there's a lot of really good conversations and catching up on out in the audience, but I am going to have to call the meeting to order tonight. We have a great crowd in our auditorium tonight. We have a lot of important recognition to do tonight and some important business to take care of. So I want to welcome all of you that are here tonight for our regularly scheduled meeting of the April 6th Waterloo City Council. Madam Clerk, would you start us by reading the roll, please?
Yes, Ms. Cole, Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Lind.
Here.
Mr. Morrissey.
Here.
Mr. Welper.
Here.
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. If you would all please join me in standing for just a moment of either prayer or silent reflection, please. And I might add, many of you in the room tonight knew Ed Gallagher Jr., who we lost this last week. Just a week ago Thursday, we were all many of us were part of a recognition for Ed at the annual Chamber and Alliance dinner, and we recognized Ed, and he made it to the podium, and he gave a moving, touching acceptance speech at that event. And so if you would keep Ed and his family in your prayers, both today and in the future, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now, if you would all join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hart?
I'd like to make a motion to approve an amended agenda. Those amendments are to add recognition of Cindy Shepard as the April 2015-2000 Member of the Month, to amend Resolution Number 3 to correct the project name provided, which was in error, and that's just taking off the Waterloo Center for Arts and making that the Waterloo Public Library restroom renovation. Also, with the approval of the amended agenda, I move that we make our bills payment, which will be read by our finance chair. In the minutes of March 30, 2015.
Second.
Got a little bit ahead of myself.
That was a test, wasn't it?
Thank you, Councilman Hart. Council, do you have any questions or concerns, comments regarding the agenda, the minutes, either one? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're going to start. Is Cindy Shepard here? I thought Cindy was coming tonight. Cindy? I didn't see her come in, though. For those of you who regularly watch, once a month I recognize someone as a team member of the month. And this month it happens to be Miss Cindy Shepard, who works in our building department. Cindy is the gal that has been kind of challenged with taking all of the phone calls and doing all of the paperwork, or the majority of it, lion's share of it, regarding our recently adopted footing drain removal project in the city. And it's created a lot of work for that department, and Cindy has accepted the yeoman's share of that work and is doing an incredibly good job of it. So Cindy, I hope you're watching. I wish you were here for me to put you on television, but congratulations for being April's Team Member of the Month. So with that, now we have some proclamations tonight. Spring is kind of our proclamation season. We're going to start with Alicia Smiley and Amanda Madsen to proclaim Sexual Assault Awareness Month. If you guys would just come down here, walk through the door, and come on up, please. Why don't you get one on each here? Hi. Which one?
Alicia.
Hi, Alicia.
Amanda.
Amanda, nice to have you guys here. Okay, this is a City of Waterloo, Iowa proclamation. Whereas sexual assault affects women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds. And whereas in addition to the immediate physical and emotional costs, sexual assault may also have associated consequences of post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, depression, homelessness, eating disorders, and suicide. And whereas sexual assault is devastating not only to the survivor, but also for the family and friends of the victim or survivor. And whereas since no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, we must work together to educate our entire population about what can be done to prevent sexual assault, support victims and survivors and their families, as well as support those agencies providing services to victims and survivors. Now, therefore, I, Buck Clark, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and encourage all citizens to learn more about preventing sexual violence. Who gets it? You'll take it. Now, does she get to speak, or who gets to speak?
I think I probably...
You're getting both.
Yes.
Okay, just say a few words, please.
Actually, I'll give it to you, Amanda.
Okay, there we go.
Well, we work for Riverview Center, and we want to thank the city for continually, annually proclaiming that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I've been doing services since 2006, and we've had a great relationship with the police department and different agencies in the community to help survivors. And so we thank you, Mayor, and the city for continually recognizing this. If you need services, we're at riverviewcenter.org. 319-939-9599 is our phone number. Thank you all.
Thanks, Alicia. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for what you do for everybody. Thank you very much. All right, Stephen Gaze and Dr. Judith Finkelstein. Come on up, please, Doctor and Stephen. I saw Stephen first when he came in. I said, this is our annual visit we do once a year. And it's certainly an important, good to see you again, and Doctor, again, good to see you. And you look so springy today. It's Eastery. It's Eastery. All right, and we're here today with these good folks to recognize the days of remembrance. This is the City of Waterloo, Iowa proclamation, whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored, systematic persecution and annihilation of European Jewry by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945. And whereas Jews were the primary victims, 6 million were murdered. Roma, Gypsies, people with disabilities, and Poles were also targeted for destruction or decimation for racial, ethnic, or national reasons, and millions more, including homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, Soviet prisoners of war, and political dissidents, also suffered grievous oppression and death under Nazi tyranny. And whereas the history of the Holocaust offers an opportunity to reflect on the moral responsibilities of individuals, societies, and governments, and whereas we, the people of the City of Waterloo, should always remember the terrible events of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred, persecution, and tyranny, and whereas we, the people of the City of Waterloo, should actively rededicate ourselves to the principles of individual freedom in a just society, and whereas the days of remembrance have been set aside for the people of the City of Waterloo to remember the victims of the Holocaust, as well as to reflect on the need for respect of all peoples, and whereas pursuant to an act of Congress, the United States Holocaust Memorial Council designates the days of remembrance of the victims of the Holocaust to be Sunday, April 12th through Sunday, April 19th, including the Day of Remembrance known as Yom HaShoah. I always trouble with that. Sorry, Stephen. April 16th, 2015. Now, therefore, I, Buck Clark, Mayor of the City of Waterloo, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the week of Sunday, April 12th through Sunday, April 19th as days of remembrance in memory of the victims of the Holocaust and in honor of the survivors, as well as the rescuers and liberators, and further proclaim that we, as citizens of the City of Waterloo, should strive to promote human dignity and confront hate whenever and wherever it occurs. Dr. Gates, or Professor Gates, excuse me, and I'm going to give you the microphone. There we go.
City Council members and visitors, on behalf of the UNI Center for Holocaust and Genocide Education and Sons of Jacob Synagogue, the two primary organizers of our annual Holocaust Remembrance Ceremony, along with Catholic parishes of Waterloo and the Peace and Justice Center of the Cedar Valley, I want to thank you, Mayor Clark, for issuing a proclamation again this year. It means a great deal to us to have the city of Waterloo recognizing the days of remembrance and promoting our annual commemoration of the Holocaust. I want to invite everybody to our annual Holocaust Remembrance Ceremony, our 9th annual ceremony, which will be Tuesday, April 21st at 7 p.m. in the Grout Museum. It's free, open to the public. We have wonderful guest speakers, including a Holocaust survivor. There are excellent exhibitions at the Grout Museum on the subject of the Holocaust. And we're just very, very gratified that the city of Waterloo is part of our annual commemoration of this important event. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And Doctor, would you like to say a couple of words?
I'll just say thank you very much, and I do hope that you will come and see the exhibit and be part of the commemoration ceremony.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, guys. And as always, thank you. All right, Rudy Jones of our own Community Development Department. This is a proclamation recognizing National Community Development Week. Rudy, and you got 4 copies here. Anyway, City of Waterloo, Iowa proclamation. Whereas the week of April 6th through the 11th, 2015, has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant Program and the HOME, H-O-M-E, Investment Partnership Program. And whereas the Community Development Block Grant Program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and sanitary housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income persons. And whereas the HOME Investment Partnership Program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, affordable housing opportunities for low-income persons. Nationally, over 1 million units of affordable housing have been completed using HOME funds. That's pretty impressive. And whereas over the past 5 years, our community has received a total of $6,254,993 in CDBG funds and $2,625,236 in HOME funds. And whereas the following activities have been funded with those funds: sidewalk repair, clearance and demolition, public services, Boys and Girls Club, the Salvation Army, homeless shelters, East Side Ministerial Alliance, Habitat for Humanity, House of Hope, Pathways Behavioral Services, Operation Threshold, rental housing, emergency home repairs, housing rehabilitation, neighborhood services, fair housing outreach, wheelchair ramps, Northeast Iowa Food Bank, homebuyer down payment assistance, new home construction, tenant-based rental assistance, foreclosure and credit counseling programs, weatherization programs, basic needs, and transportation programs. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Waterloo, Iowa designates the week of April 6th through the 11th, 2015 as National Community Development Week in support of these 2 valuable programs, and have made tremendous contributions to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and economic vitality of our community. Be it further resolved that this community urges Congress and the administration to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally by the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Home Investment Partnerships Program by supporting increased funding for both programs in 2016. I think there's times, Rudy, we'd be happy with just keeping the status quo, let alone increased. I'm going to give those to you and let you say a couple of words if you'd like.
Thank you, Mayor. We'd just like to thank you and the council and our board for all of the support that you've provided over the past few years, and we'll continue to be good stewards of all the resources.
I know you will. Thanks, Rudy. Okay, boy, what an honor. our last recognition is tonight. We have a gentleman with us tonight that, for many of you, doesn't need any introduction, but Kyvan Gadsden. Kyvan, why don't you come up, and you can bring your mom, you can bring anybody you want to come up, just come on up. No, just you? All right. Well, please come up. Yeah. I've known your mom long enough. She doesn't like to get left out on things, though, Kyvan, I tell you. Yeah.
Right before that, she was like, I'm going to stay down here.
Oh, come on up here, Danita, for crying out loud. Good job, good job, good job. Good job. Good to see you. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, many of you know, again, I've already said this about Kyvan's accomplishments, but Kyvan, you know, I'm looking out in the audience, and you're standing amongst some giants in the sport of wrestling, and we're very proud for them to call home Waterloo, for them to call Waterloo home. And you have made your mark and carved your name in a very short list of greatness in sports in general, and in particular in wrestling. And we are so incredibly honored and proud that you call Waterloo home, and your history and your background is pretty awesome. It's just pretty awesome. So anyway, we want to proclaim something for you today. It is a proclamation for the city of Waterloo for Kyvan Gadsden. It says, whereas Kyvan Gadsden, a state wrestling champion for Waterloo East High School in 2009 and 2010, achieved national prominence for his historic wrestling achievements. And whereas Kyvan Gadsden, a student athlete at Iowa State University, was a 3-time Big 12 wrestling champion and a 3-time All-American. And whereas Kyvan Gadsden won the Division I NCAA wrestling tournament at 197 pounds on March 21st, 2015, becoming the 13th graduate from a Waterloo high school and the second graduate from Waterloo East High School to win a Division I NCAA wrestling championship. What an accomplishment. And whereas Willie Gadsden, Kyvan's father, was a Big 8 wrestling champion and an All-American for Iowa State University in 1975 and 1976. And whereas Willie Gadsden was the head wrestling coach at Waterloo East High School from 2004 through 2012, coaching his son Kyvan through all 4 years of high school, along with influencing the lives of numerous other student athletes who came through the program. And whereas Willie Gadsden passed away after a year-long battle with cancer on March 10th, 2013, but his legacy will endure through the thousands of lives he touched throughout the country. And whereas the entire Gadsden family continues to make significant contributions to the city of Waterloo, now, therefore, I, Buck Clark, on behalf of the citizens of Waterloo, hereby proclaim Monday, April 6th, today, as Gadsden Strong Day. And may we all emulate the Gadsden family's examples of hard work, perseverance, and resolve into our lives. Congratulations. Don't go away. Okay, and I've got just one other little thing. I'm sure you probably don't have enough of these by now, but there are 20 $1 gift certificates to Jensen's Dairy Queen here for you guys. So you can get a little ice cream, all right? There's that. Would you like to say a couple of words?
Please.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Speak up. They can hear you. Just speak right into the microphone.
Thank you, Mayor Clark. And it's a little bit overwhelming, all this, but thank you very much. I just want to first and foremost thank God for giving me the opportunity and the ability to achieve this goal. My parents, my mom, my dad, they taught a lot of hard lessons sometimes, and I think they came through this year and have catapulted me to have this opportunity and had the opportunity to win an NCAA title. All my coaches, I remember when Coach Salas stopped wrestling me in high school, he said I started clubbing too hard. And Coach Punchy, junior high, I had a hard head. I didn't listen very much, and he stuck with me. But all the wrestling achievements wouldn't have been possible without my parents putting education in me. I remember my freshman year of high school. My dad held me out for about half of the season because I had a C+ in class, and it wasn't that a C+ was bad. It was just that he knew I was capable of achieving more.
Wow.
And so, with that, use sports as a vehicle to get you to where you want to go. Now, I don't know if my wrestling career is over, but if it is, it's gotten me an education, a bachelor's degree, and I'm working on getting my master's right now in higher education and leadership. And so, to the kids out there, or anybody out there, use your sports and your talents as a vehicle to get you your education and get you where you want to be, and make a difference. Just try to make a difference in lives, and hopefully I'm doing that, and hopefully I can continue to do that.
Kevin, you're wise beyond your age. I'll tell you. Congratulations. I'll tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, when I reached up to touch Kevin like this, and I felt that bicep, I thought, Lordy mercy. I think I'd have just forfeited right off the bat. God bless you. Thank you, guys.
Now, he can show us a couple moves on you real quick.
All right, we have one more. Come on up. Yeah, just go right there. We have a little program, short program on getting rid of electronics and hazardous material.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Tammy Turner, and I work for Blackhawk County with the Solid Waste Management Commission. And so there's an event coming up this Saturday on April 11th, and it's a partnership between the City of Waterloo and the Solid Waste Commission. So it's an opportunity for the public to get rid of some of the household chemicals that they may have in their home, and also some old electronics that are lying around. So it's this Saturday, April 11th, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be out of the Waterloo Wastewater Treatment Plant, 3505 Easton Avenue. So we'll run lines from 9 until 2. It's basically set up as a drive-through service. So we have some Waterloo staff that will be helping with the forklifts. Pretty much everybody else you'll see out there are volunteers who are giving up their Saturday to lift old TVs and all the old chemicals. So if you go out there, give them a honk for doing such a great job for us. If people have questions about the day, our waste truck education team is taking those phone calls. So people can call 266-8722, or they can check our website. So if they're not sure whether it's a toxic material that we can take, what kinds of electronics that we're taking, they can also visit wastetrack.org as well. So there's a big variety of different chemicals. So it might be like old propane tanks, fluorescent bulbs, lead acid batteries, chemicals from the garage or underneath the sink. So I just encourage people just to kind of check the website for that. Also for the electronics, they're kind of divided into two categories. The old electronics have the cathode ray tubes, or CRTs. So if anybody saw our print materials and it talked about CRTs and they weren't sure what that was, they're just the picture tubes, the old ones. So basically if you see an old TV and it's got that big bump in the back, or an old computer monitor and it's got the big bump in the back, that's the picture tube and has a lot of lead in it, and that's why we're wanting to recycle those. But we are limiting it to two CRT containing devices for free, and after that people can decide if they want to recycle more than that. And then for each additional CRT it is $5. So like I said, we'll have our volunteers there. People won't even have to unload their materials. They'll just kind of pull up. We'll ask them to put it in park, and all the volunteers will unload everything. So like I said, if people have questions, they can give us a call. It's 266-8722. And it's this Saturday, April 11th, from 9 to 2 out of the wastewater treatment plant. And it is an event for all Blackhawk County residents. So it'll be, more than just Waterloo residents. So we're expecting between 800 and 1,000 cars. So we just ask for people's patience because it is volunteers unloading everything.
Very good, Tammy. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, guys.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, let's get on with business. Mr. Hard.
I move to receive, place on file, and approve the consent agenda items 1A through B8 Also, with the approval of the consent agenda, I move that we make our bills payment, which will be read by our Finance Vice Chair.
Our bills this week are $3,081,706.50. That's 3,081,706.50.
Second.
Very good. Council, do you have any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
I would vote yes on everything except 1B. 1B, I would vote no on that one item.
1B, 1B.
B.
1B, 1B.
Mr. Lind?
Yes, except 1A5, 1B, 1A, and B.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. The motion's carried. Resolutions, please. We don't have any hearings tonight.
Mr. Mayor.
Clerk, someone can take the first three, please. Mr. Hart.
Move that we adopt a resolution approving award of contract to B&B Builders, Inc. of Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of...
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Mr. Hart. I need to recognize a couple of people. I'm sorry. I let it get away from me again tonight. I think he was here. If he left, Scott Strader. Scott, are you here? Stand up, would you please, Scott? I just about skipped over that. Scott Strader is a new employee of the city of Waterloo and is got the dubious honor of being our first combination inspector too. And you're going to be going out and inspecting downspouts and footing drains and all kinds of stuff for us, Scott. So welcome aboard. We're glad you signed up, and we hope to have a long and profitable relationship. And welcome aboard. So welcome to Scott. Thank you. And again, I'm sorry for interrupting Councilman Hart, but we also have a couple of others. Taja Wright. I don't think Taja is here. Taja has been appointed, or is on our new housing coordinator with the Waterloo Housing Authority. Actually took Julie's place, I believe. Julie took Ethel's place, so Taja is doing that. Brian Bowman is being promoted to a treatment operations foreman at the Waste Treatment Management Center. So I got confused there. Sorry, folks, but congratulations to all of those folks, and my apologies to Councilman Hart for interrupting him. If you can pick up where you left off, please do.
Sure. Move to adopt a resolution approving award of contract to B&B Builders, Inc. of Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $44,500, and approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance for the FY 2015 Upper Gates Park Shelter Project, and authorize mayor and city clerk to execute said document. And 3, I move to adopt a resolution approving completion of project and release of $6,445.75, retainage and final acceptance of work performed by Don Gardner Construction of Waterloo, Iowa, in conjunction with the Waterloo Public Library restroom renovation at a cost of $128,915. Staff has reviewed the agreement and recommend the council approve this document. In 4, I move that we adopt a resolution awarding bid in the amount of $39.75 acre, option A, $41.75 acre, option B, $26.50 acre, option C, $595 acre, option D, and $39.75 acre, option E, to B&B Lawn Care, Inc. of Waterloo, Iowa, for the 2015 right-of-way mowing contract.
Second.
Very good. Council, do you have any questions regarding 2, 3, or 4? Madam Clerk, please. It's a roll call.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Very good. The motion's carried. Next 3, please.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Schmidt.
Item number 5 is adopting a resolution approving award of hotel motel tax council discretionary funds to the Waterloo Homecoming Association for $10,000, Leisure Services $9,000, North End Cultural Center, Inc. for $5,000, Social Action, Inc. for $10,000, Waterloo Municipal Band for $20,000, and the River Loop Association, Inc. for $10,500.
Second.
Let's just do all 3 of them.
Okay. Item 6
Please.
is adopting a resolution approving construction plans for private sanitary sewer serving Kinsdale Addition Phase 2 as submitted by Brain Engineering, Inc. of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and sewage treatment agreement, DNR Form 29, with the Department of Natural Resources, and the final acceptance of construction plans subject to the review and acceptance by the DNR, and authorize mayor to execute said document. And number 7 is a motion approving change order number 1 for a net increase of $8,285.60 for the FY 2014 treatment plant levy tree removal, contract number 868, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Schmidt. Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding 5, 6, or 7?
Mr. Mayor, if I could ask on item number 5, I noticed a variety of different applications there, and in the applications it talks about what some of their goals and aspirations are and that type of thing. Can I ask, does the subcommittee that reviews this, is there any documentation on how those various events, for lack of a better term, performed? I mean, on some of them they're talking about a goal of 500 or 2,000 or 5,000 attendees, that type of thing. Do we do any kind of a look back, and do we have documentation for that?
Yeah. Who can answer that? Michelle, if that's you or if that's one of the subcommittee members, I'm not sure. But,
Michelle Wiedner, CFO. We do ask that they turn in a one-page summary report at the end of their project. So before we make a reimbursement payment to anyone, we would have a short summary of their project.
And the expenditures.
Yes.
But so again, if part of this is supposed to be based on the heads on beds mentality, correct?
Well, we changed it a couple years ago, and it's 4 different areas we take a look at: heads on bed, quality of life, and I can't remember the other 2 amenities. I think attraction to downtown, and then there was another one. But prior to that process, we did not have any I didn't see any documentation that came back for those projects. So when we changed it, we put in that requirement that they need to submit something back to us, giving us just an overview of what happened with the event. Another thing that happened, we were able to bring in different types of associations that weren't given the opportunity to tap into some of these funds to help promote Waterloo, show the best that we have. So I think now we do have documentation from those organizations about what they did with the projects.
So again, going back to if 2 of the items are heads on beds, and then basically
one item,
and then the other one being getting people downtown. Do we have
quality of life as well, and then there's one other area too.
Well,
right. But I mean, but those 2 items would be certifiable or some way of documenting that, where quality of life would be, more of an opinion type thing, I guess. But these 2 of the 4, at least, ways you should be able to document. Did we have 200 people or did we have 2,000? Right.
The application, this is actually how it reads. The City of Waterloo is offering grants to nonprofit entities for projects and community events. So it's 2 things that support tourism, which I don't necessarily translate as heads on beds, quality of life, and which bring people to Waterloo's downtown area. So that's how it was revised a few years ago.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Quentin and Michelle, and maybe even you, Steve, and I know Aaron is out here, but the distinction of heads on beds doesn't play near as much, doesn't carry near as much weight in the discretionary pool of money as it does in the CVB grant money. Would that be a correct statement, Aaron? Kind of?
I believe that that's correct, and just to speak to Michelle's point, heads and beds is a way to measure tourism. Tourism, though, is defined as a one-way trip 50 miles or greater. So somebody coming for an event that happens in Waterloo from Dubuque, they come for the day, and then they head home, that's tourism. That's a visitor that we would quantify as a visitor as well. And our grant process also looks at visitation from outside of the county, but we do define our grants with a much greater emphasis on the heads and beds, because that gives us the opportunity to share with you the return on investment.
Okay. And so, again, to determine how many people a particular event got to downtown Waterloo, that's one of the criteria? Is that correct?
That we don't review the council's discretionary applications.
Is that one of the 3?
Yeah. again, the ordinance was designed with this 10% discretionary pot to allow discretion. So it does not require as much as what the CVB does with the tax grants. It does say quality of life and which bring people to downtown's Waterloo's downtown area. So it does, that is the intent.
So to go back to your question, Councilman Schmidt, the 4 areas are supports tourism and heads on beds. Category 2 is supports and assists community events. Category 3 is brings people downtown. And category 4 is to support Waterloo quality of life.
Okay, so heads on beds is part of it.
Yep.
Correct.
Supports tourism and heads on beds.
And so, and I'm not a hotelier, so the only reason I'm asking about heads on beds is that seems like a quantifiable number, or a number that you can quantify. And getting people downtown, you could quantify, where the other 2 things I think are somewhat more subjective. So my question is anybody documenting any of this? Are we confirming that, pick an event where they hope to have 1,000 people here, did they get 100 or did they get 1,000? Is anybody?
We get a similar review post-event that I end up sending over to the city finance office. I have to sign off on it. We see, your projection is 1,000, you got 2,000. It doesn't change the award any, but it gives us an evaluation tool in future years to look at future applications, perhaps more critically or with better detail.
And that's for the tax grants. We do ask for a report, just exactly like we get for the tax grants for these. That's what I answered a few minutes ago. We get a 1-page report that should have whatever information is available to the organization. And they're available if anyone wants to come and look at them. I don't have them here, but you're always welcome to come to the office. And
plus expenditures for
yes.
the particular events as well. I mean, if you take a look at the actual projects that's being supported tonight, and based on history last year, let me see, how do you get back to this page? But actually, to make a long story short, heads on bed and tourism is one of the 4 criteria that we're looking for.
And again, maybe I'm not making this clear. All I'm looking for is who documents the results? Is it the organization?
The person that submits for the money has to turn in a report to the city finance office. So I don't know how else to say it. The organization is turning it in.
You said it 3 times.
The organization.
She has it. It's turned in.
Right. So the organization that says we're going to have 1,000 people here, and so we'd like $5,000. After the event, they can put down 1,000, they can put down any number they want to, and that's our documentation that they did achieve their goal. That's my question. Do we have any?
If you're asking if we go audit how many people came, we do not. So you're right. We do rely on them to turn in a report and use what it said.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir?
Were these all the people that applied for these grants? Were there more?
There's a 3-month process, and they apply every 3 months. So other people have applied and probably will apply before the end of the year. But for this particular grant period, these people applied.
These are all the people that applied?
For this grant period.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
David Dyer, 3145 West 4th Street. I have a copy of the paper here, and it says that there is a VGM request for $17,000 and Heartland request for Irish Fest for $15,000. I don't see that on Resolution 5.
That's a different grant process, David. This is the discretionary money. I think that's where part of this is getting confused, is there's 2 different pots of hotel, motel grant money.
Okay, so that will come up later?
That's correct.
Okay. It's all included in this.
Right.
For number 5.
I can't imagine that.
In the paper, and there's only.
Talk to the man from the paper. Are there further questions about 5, 6, or 7? Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote.
Mr. Lind?
No on 5. Yes on 6 and 7.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
No on 5, yes on 6 and 7.
Motion's carry. 8, 9, 10, please.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Morrissey.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving completion of project and recommendation of acceptance of work for work performed by Vieth Construction Corporation of Cedar Falls, Iowa, at a total cost of $131,143 for fiscal year 2014. Treatment plant levy tree removal contract number 868. And number 9, a resolution approving lease agreement with Silver Eagle Harley-Davidson for 2 Harley-Davidson police motorcycles for a 12-month period at a cost of $135 per motorcycle per month for a total amount of $3,240, and authorize mayor to execute said document. And number 10, a resolution authorizing acceptance of purchase agreement with Becker Chapman Post number 138 of the American Legion for the acquisition of 619 Franklin Street in the amount of $300,000 with up to $100,000 in relocation and building improvement incentive costs and up to $2,000 in closing costs, and authorize mayor and city clerk to execute any necessary documents.
Second.
Very good, thank you. And are there comments or questions, concerns, guys, on 8, 9, or 10?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Jones.
On number 9, will the police department have an opportunity to use these motorcycles this year?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, in some years they hadn't had the staff or the time to go out and
Go
use
ahead,
this
Joe.
for mostly traffic, is it not? Traffic control and...
Captain Joe Lyon, Waterloo Police. We use the motorcycles for a variety of things. Traffic enforcement is one of them. Parades, the 4th Street Cruise, My Waterloo Days. They're used throughout the year. Staffing does have some effect on how often they're used, but they are used throughout the year for a variety of different projects.
Thank you. Further questions? Okay, yes, sir, if you want to speak.
David Dyer, 3145 West 4th Street. I have a question about number 10. Are we paying the post $300,000 for the building, and then we're also going to give them $100,000 to relocate, so that's $400,000. What's the cost of the property they're buying? I'm a member of the Legion, 34 years, lifetime, and in Parkersburg we've spent we've raised over $400,000 to improve our post in Parkersburg, and it just seems to me like, and we didn't go to the city to ask for this, we went to the private people, not the business, and we have raised over $400,000, and now we as citizens of Waterloo are bailing out the American Legion Post. I'm a Legion member. That just bites me real bad.
Mr. Dreyer, we are not bailing out the American Legion Post. This is a transaction that has many moving parts to it. Primarily, it's the KWWL rehabilitation of that historic building that's driving this. American Legion is moving it our way.
In the paper, it says we're going to tear it down.
You going to let me answer or not?
Okay.
Okay, so the rehabilitation of that building is driving this process, and we feel like it's in the long run a good project for the city of Waterloo. The American Legion has been very cooperative with us, and we have worked with them in order to reach this end. So we think it's a good project.
Okay. As it says in the paper, are we tearing the building down?
Yes.
Then how are we rehabilitating the building?
We're tearing the American Legion down. We're not. The KWWL is rehabilitating the KWWL building, not the American Legion building.
Okay, but then that, according to the paper, that location is then going to be a parking garage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's not rehabilitating the Legion Post.
Okay, and once again, we are not rehabilitating the Legion Post. We are tearing the Legion Post down and including that into the KWWL project. The KWWL project is rehabilitating their building. We are relocating the American Legion to another location
The
at our
KWWL
request.
building is not part of the Legion Post. They rehabilitate their building that doesn't include the Legion Post.
You're right.
Okay?
You're right.
Somewhere there's lack of communication or something there.
That's probably with the
that
paper.
just doesn't calculate in this head. Thank you.
You're welcome, David. Are there further questions? Madam Clerk, it's a roll call vote, please, on 8, 9, and 10.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Very good, the motion's carry. Let's do 11 and 12, please.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Welper.
Number 11 is a resolution approving the request by Robes and Homes, Inc. for a 7-lot final plot of Prairie Meadows Estate and contract, petition and waiver, zone R3 RP Plan Multiple Residence District, generally located east of Morning Dove Drive. Number 12 is a resolution approving the Convention Visitors Bureau Board recommendation for funding in the event capital hotel motel tax grant funds for the fiscal year 2016 totaling $143,692.
Second.
Very good. Council, do you have any questions or comments regarding 11 or 12?
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yes,
ask
sir. Mr.
on
Schmidt?
number 12, that includes Irish Fest, among other things? Is that correct?
Aaron, identify yourself and tell us about that, please.
Aaron Buzza, Executive Director, Waterloo Convention and Visitors Bureau. Yes, Councilman Schmidt, that does include Irish Fest.
Do we, and I'm very supportive of Irish Fest, and I know the first several years they had Irish Fest, it was, I think, probably a fiscal nightmare because of the weather and some other things, but I've heard the comment the last couple of years that that's been an extremely successful event. I mean, do we at some point in time look for other things to help launch once these other things are off and flying on their own, and who's doing that?
That's a fantastic question that is about $1 million question. We try to balance good, solid existing events that fulfill the 6 goals that we have for the program, largely heads and beds. That's about 40% of the overall scoring mix for us, with new events and new projects, new initiatives within those existing events, or new projects and new initiatives within existing events also is a high percentage of our score, because we do want to offer incentive to new events. There's 7 or 8 new events this year within Irish Fest. Everything that was in their application, all 7 of the goals that they've set for how they're going to use the money, are all brand new initiatives this year. So we do try to weigh those, and we put the word out that grant money is available. Our staff is out trying to cultivate those relationships and use these as incentives. I had a chance to talk to Councilman Morrissey. He asked some questions about a couple of the applicants, and one of them is from outside of the community. We use this as a sales tool. So our sales staff goes out and we're able to say, unlike almost any other community around, we have grant money available for your event. Please come and meet in Waterloo, hold your event in Waterloo. And we've won several events because of that.
So are you given an opportunity on most of these events to after the effect, see whether or not they made money or lost money?
Absolutely. We asked for, very similar to what you all asked for, attendance figures, just some anecdotal evidence. Do you feel that this was successful? Tell us about some new things that you did. And then what was your attendance? I said, what was your attendance? How did you count attendance? Where were they from? How did you count where those folks were from? And then please give us as detailed as possible picture of your overall finances. How did you spend the money that we allocated to you? How did you match it with funds that you spent? Is it appropriate? Is it not? And then, did you make money?
All right, thank you.
Further? Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Welper?
Yes.
Mr. Hurt?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Lind?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good, the motion carries. Item number 13, please.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Hart?
This is a new application for Class C liquor license with Sunday for Club Empire, 313 West 5th Street. Expiration date 3/19/2016. Staff recommends denial. Did I read like a motion?
You're okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. I'm sure, questions, council, on this? Mr. Schmidt?
I'd like to have an overview, sure.
Susie?
This application was recommended denial by the police department based on doing the background check. They found that not all parties involved in the business were listed on the application, which is a state requirement. Therefore, they're recommending denial. based on their investigation, and I am in support of the denial for that very reason. The applicant may reapply with different information, but at this point, the information that was provided was not complete.
Talking to your mic, Susie.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can see people straining back there to hear you.
There.
Okay.
Okay,
Answer my
are
question.
there
Thank
further
you.
questions? Okay, so
It's basically a technical kind of issue due to a failure on their part to succinctly put on the application who was part of this, and that needs to be corrected in order for them.
And then we would do the review on all parties that they
Yes.
listed and then go from there, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, is everybody clear how you want to vote and why you're voting the way you are?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry? Okay, it's a roll call vote. Let's do that, Madam Clerk, please.
Mr. Hart?
Abstain from this one.
Does Mr. Hart need to mention a reason for abstaining, Mr. Zellifer?
You say abstain, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
A relative of one of the applicants.
Okay.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Schmidt?
No.
Mr. Lind?
No.
Mr. Morrissey?
No.
Mr. Wilfer?
No.
Very good, the motion fails. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our regularly scheduled business tonight. Been a good council meeting tonight. It is time for oral applications, and I have two people that have signed up for a time that would like to speak. I see one of them has left. Curly Heltman had signed up and asked for time, and also... Curly, for crying out loud, I couldn't see you. Papers.
Could you give us 1 minute to thank you on behalf of the Legion?
Of course I will.
I've been involved in a lot of land deals as a city attorney, as a county attorney, as an attorney general, as a U.S. attorney, as one involved in some world issues at NATO. But I want to personally thank you for what you, the mayor, and the members of this council do. In my working from this level to some other levels, this is the toughest assignment there is. And I say this because I have had experience with you, and we appreciate greatly for what you do for us in the toughest decision-making area that there is. On behalf of the Legion, as you stated, Mr. Mayor, so well, we didn't want to make a sale because we've got a lot of problems ahead of us in order to get to a new location, and it's going to be done, and it's going to be done because of all the great help that we've gotten from you, the city council, the members of your staff, and of course, it's something way beyond, and that's why we're happy to be a part of this triad, because making sure that we keep this station, the great benefit that it is to this community and to each of us individually. Some of you will remember back, there was an entity likewise named WMT, and those letters stood for Waterloo Morning Tribune. Now, most people don't realize that this was a newspaper here in the morning, along with the Afternoon Courier, who got the radio rights after World War I. Like when we came into existence, we members, now I've been a member for 63 years. I'm ready again to be an old guy in this triad. But then, of course, some things came about where maybe the mayor and the city council and some of us who should have maybe had a greater influence, WMT left the second floor balcony in Waterloo of the Russell Lamson Hotel. And I don't need to tell you, when World War II came along and afterwards something called television came in the media, that it was primarily radio stations and newspapers who got involved again. And we were fortunate enough to be able to prevail as KWWL and not as another station in a federal court suit. Some of us were involved for KWWL. And because the other opposition of another radio station in Waterloo had violated the rules and regulations by going ahead and building a building which was clearly for television, not for radio, we prevailed in the federal court building where was my office at various times, which is now, of course, the library. So we got a wonderful triad here. This guy here as the manager of KWWL, of you, the mayor, and your councilman, and a group of guys in that old building over there, but it's in great shape. But it's in the interest of this community.
Thank you,
That's a tribute, I think, to all three entities in the process, that we're working together and we're going to get it done. So thank you for the passage of the resolution, and thank you for what you do.
General, thank you very much, and you stated it very well. We too thought that this project was worth maybe stretching ourselves just a little bit, and we thought it was the right thing to do, and we're very pleased with the outcome. Dale, you'd asked for time too. Would you like to say something?
A little.
Okay.
I'm Dale Hickson. I'm the adjutant over at the American Legion, and I'm supposed to represent the 450 members that we have now. There used to be a lot more, but times they're dropping out. A lot of them are older people, nearly as old as. Never mind. I want to thank you, the council, and you, Mayor, for the work that help you have done in the past for our Memorial Day. We're going to do it again. We're going to have a parade again. We're going to start the parade a half hour early so that we have enough time to properly start the program after the parade. And you're all invited, the whole council, and you, Mayor, you're requested to speak for a little while. and you do a very good job of it, and I thank you. And anybody that's listening can volunteer to put flags out at the cemeteries. Out the garden, there's about 4,000, and the American Legion is taking over the Memorial Park out on 4th Street. There's 14 or 1,500 there, and I'm in charge of that too. And as the adjutant, I oversee all that they're doing, our honor guard and everything. And it's a never-ending job. But anyhow, thank you for your help. At what's coming up is the parade and program for Memorial Day.
Very good. Thank you, Dale. Thank you very much for your kind words. It's much appreciated. Now, is there anyone else?
Jim Chapman, 224 Birch. I think this is the 4th week I'm asking the same question. How much money does the city of Waterloo and the citizens have involved in Sunnyside South? You would think that they can go up here with other figures on these tax grants, that they come along with a line figure and tell us exactly. Somebody's got to be keeping track of the figures. How much money do we have involved?
Jim, I don't know how else to answer you.
Just a simple question. You think the chief financial officer would have that on record somewhere?
I don't know how much. What else can we provide that we haven't provided, Jim? We've provided the legal costs to date, Jim. I'm not sure what else you're looking for.
I think Mr. Kmeyer did with the $90,000, but I think we must have more city money involved in that than just that $90,000.
Well,
just a simple question.
We got a lot of staff time in this, Jim. And I guess I would ask you, you're.
Maybe I'm asking too hard.
No, you're not. No, I'm just trying to figure out what the, we would just as soon not be in this legal battle. We would like to have a half a dozen or so $500,000 homes out there that we'd be selling, that we'd be looking to getting taxes from, that would have advanced that whole area. But that's not the way it's turned out. We would be more than happy to stop spending money and to build some really nice homes out there that would add tax base. It's not our choice to do this, and I'm not trying to avoid your question. I don't know how to answer it other than what we have already given, mistakenly, Mr. Kmeyer, we sent it to you. But what else, I don't know what else we can, there's hours and hours and hours of staff time involved with this that we can't compute. Other than that, there's the legal time.
Okay. Do what?
She said maybe there was planning would have some other but staff time and legal time is what we've got involved with it, and we've given you the legal dollars, so that's what we have in it.
I got friends that live out there, wish we weren't involved neither, so, but.
Well?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bill Kemmeyer, 526 Home Park Boulevard, Waterloo, Iowa. Yes, you are absolutely correct. And I made the statement when I first got it the first time since I've come to all these city council meetings that somebody's answered my question within 3 days in writing, and that was Mr. Zellifer, which you are aware of. And he told me that the legal fees that we've spent in Des Moines, only in Des Moines, are over $90,000, and we're not done.
Mm-hmm.
The question he's asking is how much have we spent in Waterloo on top of the 90,000? That's what the question he's asking. I didn't ask that question. I just asked a question in general, and Mr. Zellifer gave me that answer. I know we got well over $100,000 plus, and we're not done. That's the point. That's the point that they're getting at. You sold something for $1. We've spent over $100,000 defending a sale of $1. That's the point. Now, I don't even want to belabor that any farther, but that's the whole issue. You guys decided to sell a piece of property for $1. We've spent well over $100,000 already defending it, and it's not done yet. And we probably are going to end up spending over $1 million when it's all done. My other question is on this resolution for the number 5. It would be nice if you explained to us what these organizations are, and explain to us. I didn't know that you could come down and find out about these applications. That's information that you should disseminate to the public, and you have the means to do that with your television station. Give us that kind of information so we don't have to come down and talk about it. The other one is number 7. Here again, you got a change order for $8,000. Who's at fault? Who made the mistake? Somebody made a mistake. Was it the person that bid on it, or was it the city that didn't give them the proper information? Why are we having a change order for $8,000 again? You never say why these change orders occur. Somebody has to be at fault. Somebody made a mistake. Who's doing what? You shouldn't have all these change orders. If you're operating a business, you sure couldn't do that in your business. Keep just adding on to a project. My last one is what you're talking about here with the American Legion. Look, I'm all for it. And I'll tell you why I'm all for it. The American Legion is no different than all the veterans clubs around here. They're all struggling because they're all, like Mr. Haltman said, we're all senile old guys. And we need something new and something different to incite these younger generations to get involved with the veterans organizations. I think this is a great opportunity for the American Legion, and thanks to the city for buying that. But the $64 question is you made the statement just tonight. There's a whole lot of rumors going on out there, and you need to start being open and honest and upfront as to what your goals are here.
Okay.
American Legion is one issue. I'm all for that. But what's the deal with KWWL? There's a lot of rumors going on out there, and you're not telling the whole story.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kemmeyer.
All right.
Let me try to answer a couple of them. Item number 5. Man, you know, we've had hotel, motel, council, tax, discretionary money for as long as I can remember us having hotel, motel in Waterloo. All of the information is on the website. If anybody has any kind of a function that they would like to have in Waterloo, they can call any employee of the city, they can call the CBB, they can go to the website. I don't know exactly how much better we could get that information out. It's everywhere. If somebody's got a function, all they got to do is ask. All they got to do is go to the website and they can find it.
First, we need to know what questions to ask. That's my point.
I don't know how to help you with that. I guess, you know, ask a question. How do I get money for my function? That would be a start. The next one, let's. I don't know why there's an $8,000 change order. Does anybody, Jamie? Why did we have a change order to the levy contract?
Jamie Knudsen, associate engineer. We ended up doing a little extra work on that project. We found after the 2008 floods that one of the storm drains that come through the levee at the treatment plant had filled in. It wasn't draining properly. so we ended up having the contractor do some extra work to grade it so that it would drain properly.
So it was at our request, that wasn't a
It
quote
was at our
mistake of
request.
any
It was
kind.
extra work that we asked the contractor to do.
And you should clarify that, because the change order means to me somebody didn't do something.
Okay.
If it's you're asking for extra work. Now, I just got one other thing.
Okay, Mr. Kmart.
I've asked, I understand that, but I got one other
Yeah,
thing to
you
say, and I'm going to
understand
say it. I've asked you continually, why are you not putting lapel mics on these people? You got plenty of money to spend. When you're sitting out there, it's hard to hear. I understand you get involved. You don't pull the mic up there. Put lapel mics
Okay.
on these people.
I don't think we have any intention on putting
Well,
lapel mics on council.
why don't you have an intention to do it? Because it
Do we-
helps us, the citizens.
Okay,
I
you
don't
know,
know if the system
it's,
could handle that
it's,
many
we can certainly look into it. I would,
I
you know,
don't think
you've
that's
you've
asking too
reminded us
much.
enough. Well, you know, I think Councilman Hart, I know Councilman Cole, some of the council people have tried to make it a point to speak more clearly into the
understand that.
microphone.
I understand.
You know?
But they're not doing it. And I'm not
Okay.
faulting them. I
Okay.
understand that. But lapel
Okay.
mics would solve the whole problem.
Okay.
You come across very clear.
It's because I emote very well. I think that's what it is.
Can I?
Susie?
Can I address Sunnyside South again?
Sure.
I don't know what rumors they're hearing about Sunnyside South. This is all the chief financial officer knows. In the financial system, the city clerk has entered bills totaling approximately $90,000 that has been paid to attorneys. I believe those bills are probably all to the Allers firm. Staff in Waterloo has spent time on it. We do not currently use a system that forces every employee to track every moment of their time. So I cannot, in the financial system, tell you how many dollars our staff time has spent on Sunnyside South. I personally am unaware of any other bills that the city has paid for Sunnyside South. That's why I asked the mayor to ask planning, because they are in charge of that project. You are looking at your professional staff that does these projects, and I think they're telling you they're not aware of any other bills that have been paid. I don't know what else to say. The figure that has been quoted now at several meetings is $90,000. There will be more because it's ongoing. But today, I believe that's the best figure that we have.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Shears?
I just want to clarify that several months ago, we went live with a new agenda process. So everything that has been asked tonight, as far as items on the agenda, there's full descriptions and attachments for every agenda item with way more detail than what's on the agenda. The agenda is supposed to just give you a topic. It's not supposed to give you all the details. So you can go on our city website and click on to any of those items, and there's several attachments and full descriptions from staff on all of those items.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
John Sherman, 1715 Robin Road. A lot of our problems that we get going just seem to be lack of information. And Susie just hit the nail on the head. I didn't know, I was just going to ask that question, how do we obtain that information? The other thing that's more important to me is we've got a lot of committees in this city. This is an area that seems to have a problem getting volunteers. So if anybody's sitting out in the television land, or their friends or whatever would like to get involved, there's very, very many different committees that are looking for volunteers right now. And the only way that's going to happen is we're going to have to start talking and advertising for them. And I see, we've got papers and stuff, but we need to get some involvement in this city other than when something really bothers us. And hopefully we can keep it friendly. This is a great bunch of people to work with. I mean, you might not get the answer you want, but you usually can get an answer. And there's a lot of good information put out tonight.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Motion to receive and file oral comments and adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.